Thank you very much. I want us to show a little love for Dennis Kucinich for being out here with us. Thank you so much, Dennis and Elizabeth. My fellow Americans, millions of us are drinking dirty and contaminated water. 4 million of us will get foreclosure notices by the end of this year. 25 million of us are or underemployed. 47 million of us have no health insurance, and millions more are underinsured. My aunt was killed by the healthcare system in this country, not because she didn't have insurance, she did. What she didn't get was quality care. And amid all the talk about health care, no one is talking about quality care. My cousin, who is no more than 24 years old, is now $100,000 in debt because she wanted to get an undergraduate college education. But the trials of my family are not our story alone. Millions of us are now in the same boat. And no matter how hard we wish for a better world and a kinder country, our policymakers are not delivering on our hopes and dreams. In fact, the dreams of our country stand deferred and drowned in debt. Sadly, in the face of growing income inequality, our president chose to transfer over $23 trillion of our hard-earned money to the bankers and financial elite, who didn't have to work hard at all for it, just tank our economy. So huddled in fear, we pray together that the flu, a hurricane, the Great Depression, or the next terrorist attack doesn't hit us. Now, given all these problems, what do our leaders do? Bomb, maim, and kill people on the other side of the planet whose resources certain powerful people in this country want to steal and whose territory occupies the land necessary for global conquest. Instead of investigating war criminals in the Bush administration, President Obama has chosen to become one. Our president is now complicit in torture, war crimes, crimes against humanity, and crimes against the peace. So what are we to do? We will not give up, and we will not go away. We are not so demoralized that we can't see the truth. We know that lies are not truth. Ignorance is not strength, and war is not peace.
That's right.
We see the power of the ballot in Latin America, where voters in unrigged elections are choosing freedom. Our freedom is under siege as much right here as it is in Haiti or Honduras.
That's right.
If U.S. politics was truly democratic, then we would not have war. That's why I support Senator Gravel's National Initiative Project. Who has $100 million of their own money to spend to get elected like New York's mayor did?
That's right.
We are ready to act on our dreams, to create the kind of change that graduates students from college free of charge, that treats medical ailments free of charge, that reflects our interests, not the special interests, that elects peace candidates to Congress, and that elects a peace president too. While our fellow Americans are afraid to get sick, struggle to keep a job, educate their children, stave off foreclosure, and make ends meet, we will not rest. As long as bombs drop and civilians die, we will not rest. While the oligarchs and the war machine get our money, we will not rest.
Right.
Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. lamented that both political parties failed to take a stand for what was right. He said that our scientific power had outstripped our spiritual power, that we possessed guided missiles and misguided men. Well, President Obama, don't be misguided. Stop shielding war criminals from justice in our courts. Stop supporting the Patriot Act and spying against us environmentalists and peace activists. Stop granting power to the Federal Reserve. Close Guantanamo. Stop torture and rendition. Secret prisons and building military bases all over the planet. President Obama, stop the saber rattling at Iran. Stop the drones and depleted uranium. Stop bombing Somalia. Stop using war as an energy policy. And finally, stop bankrupting our nation. We will not stop. We will not rest. And our peace candidates will win. Now, probably the kindest thing that a parent can do is to see that their child understands what responsibility and citizenship are really about. And my son, through no coercion from me, actually asked to be a part of this rally. And then when I told him that he only had 1 minute to speak, he told me I was censoring him. So I am going to bring to you my son, who has his own message, uncensored by his mother, Coy McKinney. We have an opportunity here to have any and all past, present, and future presidential candidates who oppose this war agenda to come on stage right now, just for all of us to just applaud them for their effort. And Coy, you stand right here with me. You're the next generation. You stand here. Senator Mike Cordell. Presidential candidate. Honorable Cynthia McKinney, presidential candidate. Representative Dennis Kucinich, presidential candidate. Thank you! Thank you for being here with us in solidarity.
This is a letter from the Iraq veteran who's living in Vancouver. My name is Rodney Watson. I'm an Iraq veteran who served in the U.S. Army. I did a one-year tour in Iraq and witnessed Iraqi civilians beaten by U.S. civilian contractors and soldiers. Me being an African American and seeing the racial hatred that was brought to the Middle East just reminded me of the racial hatred that I received in my own country. I was deployed in the fall of 2005 to 2006, around the same time my people were suffering from the slow response from the government after the effects of Hurricane Katrina. I am now living in sanctuary in Hurricane Katrina, in a church in Vancouver, for the fact that I am AWOL and fighting to stay a free man. I feel that it would be a great injustice for people like me to be punished while the ones who led us into these wars are walking the earth freely. The escalation of the war in Afghanistan saddens my heart greatly because there will be more families who will have to suffer the loss of loved ones just because some top officials want some kind of victory in a country that will never change. I hear a lot of quotes from Abraham Lincoln coming out of people's mouths, but I don't hear any quotes from Martin Luther King Jr. being said about peace and diplomacy. I love the USA, but I'm tired of seeing these young men and women being killed in wars that have no end, and I pray that God will place some real change in the hearts of the ones who are sending these brave men and women in harm's way and concentrate on protecting our own borders and help the people of our own country. Now, I have some similar feelings to Mr. Watson because I've been struggling with the reality that we all share. On one hand, I look at all the beautiful buildings in the city and the technological devices that we all use, and I think we're truly capable of great things. But normally these thoughts are interrupted by multi-million-dollar military jets flying overhead, or people on the streets asking me if I can spare a few change. And that makes me wonder, why are we wasting so much potential on war? Where are the priorities of this country?
That's right. Yeah. That's
And
right.
Dr. King once said, a nation that continues year after year to spend more money on military defense than on programs of social uplift approaches spiritual death. President Obama's decision to escalate our involvement in Afghanistan is a clear step in the wrong direction. At a time where health care for all is desperately needed, and where 1 in 7 Americans struggled to find food last year, spending billions on war is clearly wrong. It was over 2,000 years ago that King Pyrrhus famously said, one more victory like this and we're ruined. Today, we're here to say enough is enough. And while you may be able to fool some people sometimes, you can't fool all the people all the time. It's not only time for people over profits, but life over lives, and community over combat. Thank you.